If you're passionate about your business, it will shine through to your clients and your customers.
Welcome to Island Influencers, where we share stories of successful business owners, experienced professionals, entrepreneurs and community leaders based or with influence in the Isle of Man. This podcast is brought to you by Thornton Chartered Financial Planners, because great financial planning has the power to change your life. Now here's your host, Chartered Financial Planner, Sharon Sutton.
Welcome to this week's Island Influencers, and my guest this week is Gail Yeowell, who's the owner and managing director of SmartHR Solutions Limited. She's a highly experienced HR professional with 25 years combined HR management and consultancy experience, and has held global head of HR and group HR director roles for multinational companies. Gail is a chartered fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, and also a fellow of the Institute of Administrative Management. She's also a fellow of the Chartered Management Institute and associate of the Institute of Directors, having completed the Diploma in Company Direction. Gail set up SmartHR in 2010, and since then it's developed a reputation for being an award-winning leading provider of multi-sector HR consultancy, outsourcing and training solutions. So welcome again to Gail Yeowell. Gail, welcome to Island Influencers. Thanks so much for coming along and having this conversation. I've been really looking forward to interviewing you today. And if our paths first crossed, I think back in 2013, I believe.
Yes.
Was it? It was the Excellence Awards that Isle of Man newspapers ran.
That's
and
right.
And you were the winner of the Small Business of the Year, weren't you?
That's right.
And I remember that because we were also finalists and you beat us.
Yes, and I thought you'd be the winners. I was quite shocked at winning.
Well, no, I didn't. I thought you would win, but and congratulations, you did even all these years later. But I mean, it obviously shows that you were onto the winning formula from a pretty quick start, really, because you started the business SmartHR in
2010.
Yeah, so it was only 3 years, and so you obviously knew what you were doing. Yeah. Great. Firstly, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and I'd like to start, if it's all right with you, just to find out where you came from, how you've got to this point in your life, and where SmartHR came from. So
yes. Well, my family moved over to the island in 1977. My dad was previously on the island. He was a builder by trade, and he managed a few building projects on the island and fell in love with it. We lived in Coventry at the time, and he went home and said to my mum, I think we should sell up and we should move to the Isle of Man.
Right.
So that's what they did, and we moved across in 1977, and my parents bought a hotel. So we had a hotel on Empress Drive, Central Promenade.
Okay.
And they had that until 1991. So I lived in the hotel and went to school here.
Yeah. So how old were you when you came to the island then?
So I was 8.
Right.
Yes.
So which school did you start at?
I went to Fairfield Primary School.
Right.
And then Ballacmeen and St Ninians.
Right.
Yeah. So I have my childhood here, and then it was brilliant. It was good fun, living in a hotel. It was hard work. There was always something to do. You were always expected to do jobs. But actually it was hard work, but it was great fun. It was a really nice environment to be brought up in.
Yeah, I guess it'd be full on work ethic though.
It is, and I
24/7.
Yes, it is definitely a 24-hour-a-day sort of business, and the hotel tended to be open for perhaps 9 months of the year, something like that.
Gosh.
Then during the winter there'd be refurbishment and things like that.
So pretty handy with the paintbrush as well.
Yes, get involved in everything, doing the bar, waitressing, chambermaiding, you name it, whatever needed to be done, you just needed to roll your sleeves up and get on with it.
Gosh, that sounds like a fascinating time as well. So 77 would have been, that was the Jubilee year, wasn't it? And then so there was still something of a tourist trade back then. TT was
yes. Well, my parents had the hotel. It was really busy times. The hotel had 36 bedrooms.
Which hotel was that, sorry?
The Ellesmere Hotel.
The Ellesmere, okay.
So we could take roughly 100 people, and it used to be busy. You would have sort of Whitsun with a hockey festival. We'd have 3 or 4 hockey teams. Then you'd have a sort of one-day changeover for practice week and going on to TT week. So I think the times, the period of time that my parents had the hotel, it was really busy, from a tourist trade.
Yeah.
And I think towards the end of the sort of end of the 80s, then the sort of package holidays became more popular, and people were guaranteed a bit more sun for their holidays rather than
yes, yeah. So you can see why we've tried to resell ourselves as activity-based holidays, which makes much more sense now, I suppose. Yeah.
I'd say it.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, moving on in your life, what age were you when they sold the hotel? Was it ever something you thought of that you might want to do, or what did you enjoy aspects about?
I enjoyed, definitely. I think the social aspect of it, it was something that was enjoyable. And I think sort of after we came out of the hotel, you did miss that sort of social scene because you didn't really think about it so much because you grew up in that environment. Yeah. And, I could have seen myself perhaps having a pub or something like that later down the line, just for the sort of social aspect of it.
Yeah. And did that affect the sort of career path that you followed at school? Did you take any sort of A-levels that would have put you into that sort of direction? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't something that was, really at the forefront of my mind. Really, from sort of leaving school, leaving education, I went into sort of administration roles. I studied for an administration management sort of certificate and diploma. One of the modules within that qualification was a personnel management module, as it was called then. Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
It was so varied. And I really thoroughly enjoyed doing that module. And even before I'd finished that qualification, I knew that I wanted to go on and study more in the sort of personnel HR management area. So I finished that qualification and then started studying for the CIPD qualification.
Right, okay, so you discovered your vocation pretty early on in that then.
Yeah, it was just, it's so varied in terms of a topic, anything from joining an organisation right the way through to the all areas of management through to somebody obviously moving on from the organisation with different specialisms, compensation and benefits, reward and recognition. The employment law piece was really interesting.
Yeah, and complicated.
Yes.
and ever so more. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. But it is, never ever have 2 days the same. And it was exactly the same when I was, working for organisations before I set up the business.
So what made you want to go and start your own business? Because it's not something that everybody goes and does, is it?
No, and I had held various HR roles. The latter roles before I set up the business, I was Global HR Director for reinsurance company. It was based on the Isle of Man. It had a fairly small headcount on the Isle of Man, but it was bigger globally.
Yeah, okay.
And with previous jobs, I'd spent a lot of time doing long-haul business travel. So there was a lot of travel involved. And I think I said at the time that I'd reached my quota of being sort of frisked in an airport. I'd reached my limit there. But no, at the time, I'd sort of toyed with the idea. My dad was unwell at the time, and so I wanted to be here to provide some support to my mum rather than, perhaps 3 weekends of every month. The weekends were spent travelling to get to, whatever jurisdiction I was going to. So it sort of felt right in terms of family circumstances. And I thought, well, why not? Be brave and have a go. If it doesn't work out, you've still got all your knowledge, your experience, your qualifications, etc. and lucky for me, it's turned out well.
Yeah.
Touch
Yeah,
wood.
yes.
You never rest on your laurels when you're a business owner, as you know yourself. But yeah, it's the last 10 years have gone so quickly.
Yeah.
But it's been brilliant.
Yeah, so
know.
your 10th anniversary this year?
Yes, it was May this year.
Was it?
So yes,
Fantastic.
in shutdown, so we couldn't have a team celebration. So I had cakes made and delivered to each of the team's houses, and we had a Zoom with individually cakes and cutting cakes and things like that.
Yes, how big is the team now? It's
there's 3 of us, and I'm hoping to expand again, hopefully in the new year.
Great.
But yes, it's a nice team, lovely team. We've got a great client base, and it's really nice to know that the services you're providing are value adding, and the clients really appreciate them. And I would say probably 80% of new business comes from client referrals. So it's really what you want. And
no, for sure.
Yes.
You're definitely doing something right to do that, yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned COVID during the lockdown, and, what sort of issues did you find professionally that perhaps was arising that you'd never dealt with before? Anything new or...
Yeah, well, the COVID really, I think COVID-19 compared to sort of other health situations that had, happened in previous years, it was really an overnight change. A lot of our clients all got in touch all at once, really wanting to know what can and can't they do in terms of staff, wanted to talk through roles where people couldn't necessarily work from home.
So data protection issues and stuff like that.
Yes, there were lots of issues, even sort of temporarily changing hours, and just really wanting to make sure that inadvertently they didn't do something wrong and sort of end up in trouble. So just lots of general advice and guidance. We helped a lot with their sort of COVID-related policies, communications that went out to staff. So it was really varied. So the team, we all moved to working from home, and luckily from us, we could all work from home. We were all geared up for it. And then it was a case of getting used to each client's technology. So some were Zoom, some were Skype, some were Microsoft Teams. Yes. Yeah. So rather than sort of adopting, saying, right, we're going to use Zoom, it was, different clients had different sort of...
So you've had to really improve your IT skills also.
Yes, definitely.
Well done. Yeah, I know, that's really interesting, actually. Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, and primarily I ask this when I'm in my role as a financial planner, what's your earliest memory of money? How was it, sort of money growing up?
It was, yes, and it was living in the hotel and working in the hotel, really. So, there's an element of, yes, it's a family business and you're expected to, chip in and get the work done. But actually in school holidays, summer school holidays, I would, do a full-time role, a full-time job within the hotel, exactly the same as any of the seasonal staff would have done. Yeah. So it was good. So at an early age, I was earning a wage and enjoyed being able to go out and spend it on clothes, etc.
Yeah, sure.
And
no rules about kids being of the business owners, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I think it really taught me, definitely work ethic, but also the sort of value of money and working hard and earning it, and buying the things that you want to, putting money away for a rainy day or for things that you want, saving up for a car, etc. Yeah. So,
and do you mind me asking, have you done that with your daughter as well? Have you sort of are you encouraging that with yours to get jobs and things from a young age?
Yes. Yeah. So Hannah did jobs and the usual sort of earning pocket money, and then getting a job and earning money. But yes, I think it is just important, and to have things like, a bank account and manage your money. I think my daughter's very good at sort of, managing money.
So, of all the things you've done throughout your life so far, then, Gail, what sort of things have given you the most fulfilment from both a personal and a business perspective?
Yeah. I think from a personal perspective, definitely having my daughter. I was a single parent, so, it was a juggle at times, working full time, studying, particularly in the early days, studying for the sort of CIPD qualifications after Hannah had gone to bed, get all the study materials out.
Good baby.
Yes, she was always very good, luckily. Yeah. But yes, family I think is really important to me. So yeah, very, very proud of my daughter. She has 2 sons, so I have 2 grandsons now. Gosh. So it's fabulous having them and having them coming around for sleepovers, etc. And then I think on a work front, it's definitely setting up the business. It was, for me, I think it was quite a brave decision at the time, but I don't look back, and I've never had a day where I've woken up and gone, oh, I've got to go into work today. I just absolutely love it. So I think if you're able to do a job that you're passionate about, then it's great. And
where does the name SmartHR come from?
I don't know how it originated, really. It was just sort of thinking I wanted something with HR in it to be descriptive of the business. And
it's pretty. It makes sense to me, from all the training we've had on the smart, being smart, measurable, achievable.
That's
real,
right.
Timely.
That's right.
Is that where it comes from?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So, for any aspiring business owner or entrepreneur, what would be your number one key business tip? Would you say? Perhaps not just for business owners, but maybe. Aspiring business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yes. Yeah. I think definitely have a business plan. I think it's really important to, really be prepared as you're going into that business. I think it's really important to manage your cash flow. Cash flow control is absolutely essential. And I think it's, don't underestimate the amount of work involved in running your business. My specialism was HR, and yes, you go into the business, to do that as your technical area of expertise, but there's so many other things that come along with running your own business. So the IT, the marketing, social media, PR, the financials, the accounts, etc. So just don't underestimate it, and make sure you have a good business plan, and take necessary advice as well. And I think that it's make sure that you get support. Don't put pressure on yourself to be absolutely expert at everything. Sure. If you need to outsource or get support for certain parts of the business, then do that and use your time then to be really focusing, on your business, whether it's developing new products, services, etc. Of course, I'd say get your HR infrastructure right. That's really important. All your sort of employment documentation, etc. Yeah, sure. And then just, your business, rests on the quality of your team and the people that you have. So it's making sure that you recruit well, and that the team are engaged, they're listened to, they're recognised and rewarded for their contribution.
Yeah, I completely get everything that you just said then. I couldn't agree more. And I don't know too many business owners who went into business with a fire in their belly to do their own HR, except you. Because that's your bag, and that's what you do. But you're right, to be that to have the passion to do something and to be able to concentrate just on doing that is something that you have to make a decision quite early on, isn't it?
It is.
To get in help when you need it.
Definitely. And I think that, choose an area of business that you are passionate about as well. I think if you're passionate about your business, it will shine through to your clients and your customers. So, you will spend a lot of hours planning, doing the work, etc. So, just make sure that it's the area that you want to be in, and that it's, it is really something that you're passionate about.
No, thank you very much. That's a great answer. It really is. So what do you do to relax, Gail? What do you do to keep your life in balance?
What do I do? Oh, gosh. I'm not very good at switching off always. I probably tell other people that they should, and then I'm not quite as good myself. But yeah, family, I'm sort of quite rugby mad. My mum and I are both Welsh, so we're really missing going to Cardiff, because we'd have probably gone to Cardiff 4 or 5 times a year for the rugby. So missing those sort of trips and weekends away. But
you never fancy doing the women's rugby element?
No, just watching. Yeah. Just watching, yes. But we've all got to be patient in these COVID times, haven't we? But yeah, I moved house just before lockdown. So
the most stressful time of your life, apparently.
Oh God, yes. The timing was absolutely immense.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think I've done more decorating and gardening and fence painting than I've ever done. Yeah. So at least the lockdown weekends when you couldn't be out and about, that it was productive. So I quite like the sort of decorating and interior designy bits.
Yeah, I don't suppose you wouldn't be alone really getting more gardening done during lockdown then.
Yes.
What's been your greatest triumph in the garden?
Greatest triumph in the garden? Well, I had a notion, the garden in the house that I've bought, used to have 2 ponds, and they'd both been filled in. Oh. And were flower beds. So I took a notion one week that I was going to dig out the one flower bed and turn it back into a pond, of which I thought, it'll only take a couple of days. I think there was enough sort of Manx stone rocks in the bottom of this pond that I could have almost built an extension on the side of the house. No. So that was nice to have that done for the summer. So that's all done. There's fish in it now.
Oh, wow.
So yes, that was quite nice. Yeah. So that's quite therapeutic.
Yeah,
taking a
running water,
coffee, listening to the fountain, watching the fish.
Oh, lovely. That sounds wonderful. So you said that you're always doing something like social media marketing. Do you switch off, or do you find doing social media and stuff a bit relaxing, or does it? I don't know. How do you find that?
It's a difficult one, because I think we've really made a conscious effort over the last probably 12, 18 months just to have more focus on the social media sort of marketing point of view, because I think it's very easy to get just swamped into the client work and just completely involved in client projects, and then not stopping and going, right, okay, we need to be sort of being more active on the social media side. Okay. We've just coming to the end next week we've had a marketing intern with us via the government's summer internship.
Well done.
So that's been really good. So it's enabled us to sit and work together and just look at sort of marketing and social media and priorities. Yeah. But yes, I wouldn't say I'm a social media guru at any level, but it's just doing what we think is right, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to go down rabbit holes as well if you're not careful. You're quite focused on what you do. But
that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So, do you do any volunteering as well? I think I read in your bio that you have quite a lot to do with junior achievement.
Yes. I'm a non-exec director of Junior Achievement, but all of the team at SmartHR also do volunteering, so we're all signed up as volunteers. And then in terms of the business, we've been a long-term supporter of Junior Achievement, so we would normally sponsor perhaps 1 or 2 programmes or events per year. Yeah. the company program that they do on an annual basis is absolutely excellent.
Yeah,
and that's geared up towards, budding entrepreneurs and students gaining experience of setting up their own business and all the trials and tribulations of raising capital and finding out if people are in the right roles within their team. So I'm usually involved in that each year and a judge on the programme. And it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Sounds great.
Very good.
No, well done for that. That's it is a great organisation. Tell me, what do you think are the best things about living in the Isle of Man?
I think right now, the way that we've had the ability to deal so well with COVID, we're lucky that we have got the ability to have the border controls in place that have helped, reduce the spread of the pandemic. When you look at other countries and how they're still, it's really impacting them sort of 6-7 months on. I think we did a very good job on the island, and really the whole island community pulled together because everybody followed the rules and understood the importance of it. So, I think that, I think that's really, really beneficial.
Yeah.
And I think that there is support for entrepreneurs and new business setups and things like that are offered on the island.
Yeah, so they've done something quite a lot about it over here, haven't we? With
yes. I did the small business setup scheme when I was just setting up SmartHR.
Right, okay.
And that was really useful for me. So those sorts of schemes, actually people going on them and then seeing that yes, they have set up their business and it has sort of grown and it. Yeah.
And they're still running those.
There is longevity. I believe so.
Yeah. What would you say the main challenges are that the Isle of Man faces?
I think it is, well, obviously there will be a financial impact to the island from COVID. So, we will have to wait and see what, how that will be dealt with. I think there are sort of pension challenges going forward. But I actually think that we've got lots of opportunities as an island. Yeah. And I think particularly how well the whole island has coped in the main this year so far. I think that we've got a really good story to go out and really promote and shout about, to really encourage new businesses and entrepreneurs to, relocate or set up a business on the island. So I think there's lots of opportunities from this year.
Yes, I see you in social media. You're always very supportive of other things and initiatives that you see going on. I think it's
yes, and I think it's important to sort of support local initiatives and things that are going on.
Yeah.
But no, I do think that we have a great news story to go out and promote. To individuals and to organisations as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you've covered there the challenges and the opportunities. So, I know that's really great. And the fact that you've got that intern involved as well.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, how did you go about that, if you don't mind asking?
It was just something that I'd seen advertised, and I wasn't quite sure whether I would be eligible, whether SmartHR would be eligible for it. So I just contacted the Department for Enterprise just to get some further details of it. And, yes, it was. And I wanted to get something, an internship that wasn't HR related, that it was a different aspect of the business, so it could sort of add value from that perspective.
Very good.
And I think it's really great, that it's, unemployed sort of graduates that are able to come in and use their sort of knowledge and expertise and gain experience as well.
And so how long can that, you can do that for 8 weeks?
That's for 8 weeks, yes.
And is it an ongoing rolling programme that they're issuing them ongoing, or is it, we're nearly finished through that now?
No, Tia, who's our marketing intern, she's finishing the middle of next week, so that will be her 8 weeks will be up. But, there might well be sort of future programmes
Yeah.
that will be considered going forward.
Right.
But it was very worthwhile. I would
Yes.
definitely recommend any organisations thinking about it.
So she gets to improve her CV and then to perhaps get a job in the. So it's a really great way to give someone a lift, isn't it, onto the.
It is, definitely.
Onto the employment path.
Yes, and it's a variety of sort of industries as well. So, in Tia's instance, her CV has got sort of HR consultancy and understanding the differentials and the sort of key things that we want to emphasise from a digital marketing and social media perspective. So
Great.
Yes.
Yeah. So Gail, what have you got planned next? What's going on right now?
We just in the process of finishing a new people management academy programme. So that is a HR management development programme that we've put together that can be sort of customised, bespoke to clients, their day-to-day HR procedures. Because what we find is that managers are often appointed into managerial roles, but they haven't had any people management training. And it's the same thing that we hear over and over again. So we've put together this People Management Academy. So we're just in the stages of finalising that, and then we'll be launching that out in the next month or so. And it's really just keeping focused on staying up to date with employment legislation, best practice people management initiatives, supporting our clients as best we can, and hopefully driving the business to grow. It would be nice to have an additional consultant, hopefully in the early part of next year. Fingers crossed.
Great. Sounds really exciting. We'd just like to finish off with a number of questions that our listeners like to hear. So if you, just really tell me, are there any books that you've read recently that you'd recommend to anybody?
I'm a real crime fiction thriller. That is my bag, really.
Oh, okay.
So I love James Patterson, so any books by him,
Yeah.
It's always my sort of author of choice, and the one that I would normally do, in the times when you could go on holiday, I would sit and have my head in a book and go through a few of his books.
It's a really good way to switch off, isn't it? Not think about reading technical journals and things that you have
that's it, yes.
Employment legislation monthly.
That's it, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of light relief with some
some
crime.
Yeah. I normally ask my guests what's your favourite quote, but you said you didn't have one. But you did a fair bit of homework for me in advance of us talking today. So Gail's quote is, for our listeners, it's when it's something you're passionate about and it's your own business, then it makes all the hard work worthwhile.
Oh,
that's what you said.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really good quote by Gail Yeowell.
Thank you.
So where can people go to learn more about you and SmartHR and the things that you're passionate about?
Yeah, we have a website, so that's smarthr.co.im. We're also on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yep.
So I've got individual profile pages, but we've got the SmartHR Solutions Limited pages as well. We've just started doing more tweets since the positive influence of having our marketing intern with us recently.
Yes. Okay, good.
So we're tweeting it a bit more.
So is that SmartHR?
That's it, SmartHR IOM.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
Yes. And our office is in Nelson Street, ground floor, 14 to 16 Nelson Street. So if anybody wants to contact us and come in and have a chat and find out more about what we do, then we'd be very happy to speak to them.
That's great, Gail. And also, I suppose there's so Junior Achievement has their own resource too. They have a website too, I suppose. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, JAIOM.
.com or .im, one of the two.
Yes.
We'll find it and put it all in the show. We'll put all these in the show notes so our listeners will be able to
and they've got a Facebook
that
page as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's really great. So, Gail, thank you so much for coming on Island Influencers today. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you and all about your business. And it's a business that we've admired here at Thornton for a long time. So,
thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks for coming.
You for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Island Influencers from Thornton Chartered Financial Planners. To find out more and for useful links, visit thorntonfs.com/podcasts.